Welcome back. Our next guest is the comic book artist and the founder of Verse Comics. Verse Comics. And he joins us all the way from Bloomfield, Michigan. We call it the D. He's going to speak about his passion for art and highlight the work that he's doing. Please welcome to the show, B. Van Randall, all the way from the D, the Blade Icewood dance. From the Blade Icewood. They still doing the Icewood dance over there?
Blade Icewood dance is what they do in the D. How you doing, Bob? Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, welcome. So talk about some of the work that you're doing over there.
I'm a writer, and I'm actually a screenwriter by trade. I'm an English major, always did creative writing back in college. And at some point back in 2016, I decided to dive into the world of comic books and graphic novels because I was always a fan of them as a boy. I just saw it as a way for me to sort of get my screenplay ideas out to the public, maybe do like a proof of concept type thing, and just kind of like started off as like a slow roll, but then things started taking off. Started partnering with certain celebrities and influencers and started getting a lot more recognition. Then the awards started rolling in. And so now we're just trying to upscale our company, take it to the next level, and see if we can start making some of these Hollywood plays.
Yeah, there you go. So you started from the bottom, now you're here.
Started from the bottom, now we're here, Bob.
Yeah. So you started out with comic books. Talk about your very beginnings.
So my very beginnings, like I said, I used to be a big fan of comic books as a kid. And then I had this idea for Therians, which was a story about these werewolves from Africa and how they were brought over to America during the transatlantic slave trade unwittingly. And so I used to tell the story to my wife, to my family, and they thought it was an amazing story. And so I sat down. I didn't know anything about doing a comic book, even though I used to read them all the time.
Yeah.
And so it was trial and error. I scoured the internet looking for artists, found an artist who's still my business partner, Jarrell Treat, to this day. And so I could write, but I couldn't really draw. And so Jarrell teamed up with me. He saw my vision. He believed in it. And so we sat down and we put Therians together. And that story has been sort of carrying Verse since then. But back then we weren't called Verse. Back then we were called Straight City. And then later we changed the name of the company to Verse, mainly because of the idea of partnering with hip hop artists, and then also having a double meaning of us creating our own universe.
Yeah. So now Verse Comics. So you're involved with this 50 years of hip hop thing, right?
With the you said the 50 years of hip hop?
Yeah, you're involved. You're in it because this has something to do with hip hop.
I mean, well, I guess you could say so. Yeah, because we do have some notables, like, we got the project with Yuck Mouth. Yuck Mouth is a classic, I Got Five on it from back in the day, which actually saw a rebirth when Jordan Peele put it in the movie Us.
Yeah.
But that's a classic. Everybody knows that song. And then there's other rappers, like right now, Twista from out of Chicago and I are talking about doing a project together. So, yeah, I guess you could say, Verse has become a part of the 50 years of hip hop.
Yeah, you're in it.
Think of it, though.
And everybody's running around making money from it. You got to run around making money from it, too. So now you're in it.
There it is.
Boom, you're in.
Talk
about some of the people who inspired you along the way to help you get where you need to go.
So one of my biggest inspirations for the type of stories, the kind of stories that I write, I would have to say is the classic Octavia Butler. I specialize in horror and fantasy writing. So Octavia Butler was just a huge, huge influence on me. I love her stories. God rest her. And as far as influence on getting Verse off the ground, I'll be honest, that was really my wife. She the one pushed me to write Therians when I used to tell her the story orally. She would literally sit there and listen to the story. And She said, "Hey," she said, "that's the one." She's like, "You write a lot of good stuff." She says, "That's the one you need to really focus on.
Yeah.
That's going to take you far." And I listened to her eventually, not right away, but eventually I listened to her. And when I did, that's when it seems like doors started opening. And next thing you know, the Kresge Award came up, which is a pretty prestigious award here in the Detroit area. And and then now a lot of doors are starting to open. But I'm influenced by just great stories. Like one of the things for me is I never really like the term Black stories. Like I don't like for people to sort of pigeonhole us and put us into a box like that.
Yeah.
What I tend to try to write great stories that tend to just have Black characters. That's it. So it should be a story that anybody should be able to enjoy, right? The plot, the meaning should be something that should be relatable to all people, except your leads look more like me as opposed to how they've looked traditionally. So that's usually my approach and how I get inspired,
So big shout out to your wife. So it's true when they say behind every good man is a good woman.
Hey man, I tell you, yes, she pushed me, man. And then I have a tendency, I'll get diverted. I'll try to go off and but this one's better. And she just kept telling me, she's like, no, that's your one. That's the one you need to really focus on. When I started listening, man, the rest became history. Started opening. So.
You got rid of that pride, right? The pride said,
hey,
and then it started happening, right? But listen,
that's right.
Did you ever revisit the werewolves from Africa?
Yeah. That's my main one. So I got stuff out with like the Instagram star Haha Davis. I got, like I said, Yuckmouth from the Loonies. But the Therians is the one that I won the Kresge Award behind. Yeah. We're actually doing a reboot to that one now. So back in 2016, like I told you, we were kind of fumbling through, not really knowing how to put together a comic book, not really knowing the nuances, the ins and outs of it. We've had a lot of years to sort of get better. So, and we've recently brought on some investors. So
good. Now
my partner and I are rebooting, I guess you can say rebooting the African werewolf one and doing like a whole of the story. We do have some interest in that story from some studios in Hollywood. We just were waiting for this whole writer strike to be over with. But we're in the works of unveiling that and bringing that back out to the public, and then hopefully we'll see it on the big screen one day.
Yeah, you'd be surprised of how many people want to get involved in what you're doing. What advice would you give to somebody up and coming?
I would say the advice would be to, one, give yourself grace. You're going to make mistakes, and don't beat yourself up over the mistakes. Two, I would say partnerships. I would not have been able to do any of this without the partnerships that I've forged. Like I said, with Jarrell, with my buddy Nate, just guys that are in my corner that are helping me bring the dream to fruition. So you can't do it alone. So get that out of your head. You can't do it alone. And like I said, just give yourself grace, because you're going to have some bumps and some hiccups because we're trying to figure this thing out,
That's true. Anything coming up? Are you going to be in New York anytime soon? Or anything coming up that we should know about?
Yeah, I'm planning on it. I think probably I think it's the first week of November. I might be in New York, just kind of visiting. But right now, man, I got my head down. I like to write in coffee shops. That's the thing. Even though I got a home office,
there's a lot of them over here. There's a lot of them in New York.
I love it, man. I love the coffee shop vibe. So I've just been having my head down and just writing every day and just trying to get ready for when and then I got a trip coming out to LA. I'm gonna be out there. Got some meetings I'm gonna be taking, so I'm just trying to be ready so I have something to give them.
That's good. So that you'll be traveling around, and one of your stops is right here in New York.
Yes, New York and LA. In the foreseeable future, definitely New York and LA.
Yeah.
And then with Haha, we're planning a book tour to take his comic book around to different cities. So a lot of that's going. Right now, we're retooling our website. So traditionally, our website would be you would go on and buy our comic books, www.versecomicsusa.com. But we're retooling it because our business model is changing on what we're trying to achieve. So that's going to be we're going to be unveiling that in the near future, probably within the next month or so.
Oh, good. I'll buy a copy of yours if you buy a copy of mine. I got a new one that just dropped, People to Know in Black History and Beyond, Volume 3.
Oh,
so it's
wow.
a trilogy.
Okay.
I got a 1,
Absolutely.
2, and 3. So where can we get your book?
Outstanding.
You get mine on
Right now,
Amazon
you
and all
can
that stuff. I'm throwing it out there. But where can we get your book?
Yeah. You could get Amazon. A couple of our titles are on Amazon. Therians is on Amazon, but the vast majority of our titles right now are on our website, www.versecomicsusa.com. So everything is available there.
There you go. B. Van Randall, all the way from Bloomfield, Michigan. The D.
Yes, sir. Detroit, man. Detroit. Born and raised east side of Detroit, but I'm out here in the suburbs now, man.
All right, my bro.
I love the city, man, but I had to get away for a minute.
We appreciate you, man. Keep doing your thing. We'll see you when you get here.
I appreciate you.
Okay.
Thanks
man.
for having me, man. I'll keep you in the loop when I'm in town.
You got it. Sounds good. All right, we'll take a break. I've got more. We're going to continue to kick it right here on Open.